Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Karate Combat Legacy of Reddit series. Here we're on the Reconquista, and I'm going to read a post by Mac Tyson. We've discussed this a little bit before as a general issue that some people are coming in with, despite Karate Combat right now. Sorry guys, my voice is a little bit cracking up. I'm cracking up here. But you'll be able to survive. Um, People got these really weak criticisms, and they seem to be of oh wow that's a mic dropper like on the surface. But if you just look into it and you think about it, then you come to a different conclusion. I'm gonna let Mike Tyson speak for himself. I may give some commentary. He's always Mac Tyson's always posting great posts on the Reddit. I feature him on my other posts and videos, whether he's dropping like a little compilation or cool little video. I love his post. They get me excited for not only karate combat and the fighters and everything like that, but they get me excited to go actually come to the Reddit, interact with other people, and he posts a wide variety of content, but all like in reference to karate. So I always want to speak highly of Mac Tyson. He's done a good job. So beginning with the title, which is in the form of a question. Why isn't the rule set dominated by karatekas? And why is karate not producing enough talent to be able to solely supply the organization with karatekas? This is a question that someone asked in the comments of the karate subreddit, so I wanted to answer it here as well. Apologies in advance for the length. No need to apologize. This is Reddit. We're here for information dense posts, information density. All right, we're not. Sometimes we're looking for quick answers, but if you're a redditor, you're looking for dense information that is at least well argued and with citations if possible. That's what I notice on Reddit. So I mean, I appreciate that. That I appreciate the mindset. I'm glad it's not MLA format, but length is not an issue, Mac. We appreciate it. This is my analysis as someone who follows the sport closely, um, who follows the reasons why, not the official reason by the organization. Okay. Sorry. Reading is hard. First, the question is first. For the first question, it actually is at least half of the roster still has only ever competed in karate, and at least 80% of the roster has a black belt in karate. Very loose definition of what karate is, with debatable arts like kudo, kempo, and tang sudo being considered karate styles. And yeah, I've discussed this in the earlier parts of the series, though I'm recording this way later. Um, I would like to bring it back up and say that kudo, kenpo, tang sudo, these are all literally tang sudo. I'm pretty sure is originally karate means tang hand or Chinese hand, okay, and then it's translated then later into empty hand. We learned this in the what's his name, in the documentary with Encamp, where they discussed the earlier uh, transmission of this basically Shaolin Kung Fu to the Okinawans, and then it being fused with local fighting arts, which some people argue that's bullshit. They didn't have hand to hand combat. If you look at just like all of civilization, historically, every culture has a fighting style, whether it's wrestling or it's kickboxing, boxing, um, it's some variant of that. You know what I mean? Even if it's just kept in the form of some type of game. In the case of certain Scandinavian wrestling martial arts, there is record on pretty much every civilization having some type of martial art. So, that being said, the transmission of the Shaolin Kung Fu and a mix with the local arts is feasible. That being said, all these Kudo Kempo Tanksudo descend from karate styles, whether it by fusion or just directly, like Tanksudo is just basically karate, and maybe some things that were added along the way, which is basically every martial art. So I think all of those aren't debatable arts, and I just want to highlight that in since I'm sharing this post. I think all of these are martial arts that could and should be considered karate and more. They should be. That's like it's just like one of the little, like they're Pokemon. You know what I mean? It's just one of the genres it has. You know what I mean? Or what is it called? Power? I don't know. Type. You know what I mean? It's just multiple types. It's not just one thing, and that's what is all martial arts. That's how it works. So continuing on after making that little tangential rant, um, also most of the top ranked fighters are lifelong karatekas, and every single champion to date has been a karate black belt. That's facts. Spin facts, Mac. The need for non karatekas is needed more in the heavier weight classes like heavyweight, middleweight, and to a smaller extent, welterweight. Also, the female weight classes. Now, what's the reason for this need? There's a lot of karatekas in the world, but how many of those are athletes? How many of those athletes are accomplished with somewhat of a following? How many of this pool is willing to transition to Karate Combat's rule set? And finally, how many of them are willing to do so for a reasonable fight purse for what is essentially an amateur competitor making their professional debut? You see how that pool of available talent gets increasingly smaller. I think that argument speaks for itself. I think that it's um, well written. There are a lot of karatekas out there. How many of them want to fight in karate combat? And how many have a following that's worth them being invested in? Because that's what karate combat's doing. They're investing in them in many ways. And how many of them are athletes? There's a lot of karatekas out there, but how many, even run of the mill fighters in MMA gyms, they have to question their ability of how athletic they are. Like, most people aren't athletic as they think they may be. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you get in the ring or you spar or train with some of these guys that are world class or competing at a professional level. It's different. It's different feeling their power. It's different trying to take them down. It's different going toe to toe with them. And people need to realize that. And then from that pool of people, how many are willing to make this debut? And so on and so forth. Continuing on. Now why do they have non-karatekas in the lighter weight classes? When karate combat was karate only, maybe with some only other traditional martial arts. I can't read today. Well, back then, the talent basically ranged from world-class athletes with a transferable set who may or may not have prior full contact experience to glory/UFC level fighters. The number of fighters at the opposite ends were good, arguably heavy on the low end. But that middle level talent was very sparse, and also when all of your low level talent is basically making their pro debut, it makes the climb a gauntlet with a hard ceiling to break into those top ranks. For example, if you are a Division I All-American folk-style wrestling champion, your first full contact fight in an MMA in MMA wouldn't be against an Olympic judoka, but those types of matchups happened all the time. It's why people felt the fights looked so sloppy, since it takes at least 3 fights for any fighter to start getting comfortable in full contact, 5, 7, before they really start showing how they look in training. Now, do that against a similarly skilled and athletic opponent, and the fights look a lot less clean. The other reason for bringing in more pro fighters in general is they know better how to promote themselves. The amateur athletes still have the amateur mindset, show up on weight and win. But for sports entertainment, you need to learn how to promote yourself, how to sell tickets, etc. Finally, one of the biggest reasons that President Asim has talked about is they want to open up the roster to high level strikers from other arts to help evolve the art. You don't want karate only being effective against other karatekas. Like in any combat sport, athletes from other sports should be able to compete in it, which is the precedent already set by open style karate tournaments. You will find taekwondo, kung fu, and even kickboxing athletes competing in American sport karate tournaments. Even in Olympic karate, one of China's bronze medalists was originally on the Chinese taekwondo team and only transitioned to competing in the WKF rule set 3 years before the Olympics. To my knowledge, she never formally got a black belt in quote unquote karate, he didn't put the quotation marks, I will, when representing her country in Olympic karate. Now, there is a bright side to all of this for the more karate purist fans. Before I go on, I just want to make some comments here. Once again, I think Taekwondo is a karate. It's literally Shotokan and in descendant, okay, and that she is this Chinese bronze medalist is a Taekwondo black belt and doesn't have a karate black belt, and it's accepted by the Olympic Committee, should go to some credibility to the idea that allowing Taekwondo, Tang Soo Do, etc., um, and other karate descended martial art styles should be an uh, acceptable art to be considered karate in this karate combat. So I think that would put pretty much close to like 90%, even more, because everybody's had a little bit of taekwondo and some of these styles that people may consider, oh, is that karate? Like, yeah, it is, because it is just karate that has been added with other things, which is how martial arts evolve. I mean, look at, we saw the documentary with Camp. That's Jesse Camp. You can watch that, and by going back to part 1 of this series, and back to the Reconquista. I don't want to keep going over and over about these other videos. Go watch it. Professional karate as a sport is growing, led by karate combat. Very true. There's a number of regional KC style leagues popping up around the world for karatekas to develop themselves as professional fighters before stepping on the big stage in karate combat. So there's a direct pipeline being created in karate combat. That's awesome. Also, the existing pipeline of high level sport karate athletes across the ocean of karate athletes still exists. It's just not the sole or primary pipeline anymore. Also, while Karate Combat is signing fighters with names like Rafael Alves, they are also signing fighters and coming up and coming fighters, from MMA and kickboxing who often have a karate combat background or a karate background, or at the very least a traditional martial arts background like taekwondo and kung fu, both of which have strong ties to the karate. Very, very true. Even some pure kickboxers and kickboxing that directly descends from karate. Damn, I am twisting my words today. The point that is being made here is one that I agree with. They are signing karate athletes all the time. Kickboxing is karate, because that's literally what it is. It's like, oh, it's karate with some Western boxing. That's what quote unquote kickboxing is, or American kickboxing. And then kickboxing in terms of the stand up striking art where you see people fighting in glory and um, have many karate ties, like Dutch kickboxing, all right, or Dutch style Thai. I don't even Dutch style kickboxing is like a mix of Thai boxing and karate, or it was like karate added with some Muay Thai things picked up along the way. You could say either. Some are more Thai based, but they all have these karate ties because they were beginning around the same idea and same sphere of people. Moving on. So karate combat isn't karate exclusive, but the issue of non-karatekas taking over the sport has been exaggerated at least in this point in time. Karate combat is still primarily consisting of karatekas and is a sport karate rule set. Tapology literally records karate combat and other professional karate league bouts as karate, not MMA, the same way they do with kickboxing or Muay Thai. So uh, basically, the point being made here is people are exaggerating it being taken over by non karatekas. That's a gross over exaggeration. And you know these other styles like kung fu, like sanda is like this is a Chinese form of kickboxing that is coming out of the current um, regime at the Shaolin Temple, and is a growing sport. And it is very similar to other karate based kickboxing. They have a heavy use of the side kick, you know, and like I said, and we learned in the first part of the series from the Jesse Enkamp documentary, karate is in its base partly, large in part, from Shaolin Kung Fu. So these Kung Fu, Sanda, Taekwondo, who are descendants of Shotokan Karate, martial arts styles, like that would, if you just count them as karate by being more lenient with your definition as opposed to making it about people who wear a certain uniform and practice it a certain way, and only allow slight variation in belt color and gi color and name only, then that really isn't going to improve the depth of your martial art. It's going to stagnate it. And, you know, with the Mick Dojo and all that's been happening with MMA and Muay Thai, especially here in America, karate is not as respected or seen as a legitimate martial art anymore. And saying only these kids can play with us isn't fucking making things better or making sure things stay honest in terms of the capabilities and its ability to deal with other types of styles and fighting arts. Getting to the comments here, we got a commenter Freya 5 star has an interesting comment, so I wanted to share this little back and forth. Not enough karate jojos that offer the level of training, in my opinion. Try and search for a decent karate dojo local to you who is actually getting people ready to fight. All I can see are traditional clubs which are not sparring and focused on breaking boards, bowing, and selling belts. People who are interested in fighting are going to end up at a boxing, Muay Thai, or MMA gym. Zzz. This is it. You'll never go to an MMA, Muay Thai, or boxing gym where people aren't hitting and getting hit or doing round sparring. While there are absolutely karate dojos that train this way, most have an emphasis on kata, board breaking, bullshit, pad work, and light sparring as opposed to anything that will get them ready for a real fight. Don't take this the wrong way. I love training kata, etc., but I'm not deluded into thinking that it will prepare me to actually fight someone. There's a business opportunity here for experienced karatekas. If someone opened up that down the street with a pit and a sensible approach to training, I'd be down there in a flash. More people would follow as karate combat inevitably captures more and more people's attention. I agree. I would love to open up a gym with a pit. Now that's gonna only have to wait until down the road though. Um, and all right, I don't know if I wanted to read this last one here. It really depends what people want from their training. Self defense isn't the same as fighting with the rule set. No, I didn't want to read this one. Okay. So in the end, I think that Mac Tyson makes a great argument, has a great number of points here, and is in the same vein as what I've been saying here on this channel. I appreciate the views of the commenters and everybody watching and taking the time to let me read this entire little Reddit post to you guys. And I hope to hear from you. I'll be making and posting continuously on this page. I had to stop a little bit because I got a strike, and I'm hoping to get that strike removed. Haven't gotten any responses, so c'est la vie. We move on. And yeah, we got to just continue pushing forward. Even if people don't like your comments here and you get strikes on YouTube, you can't stop the Reconquista of the Karate subreddit. So, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Stay up, stay vigilant, stay locked and loaded. Shalom, shalom, peace in.